Yo, what is up, guys? It is your host, the one and only Sage Samurai here, and I'm back with another part 2. What if Naofumi had Whitebeard's powers? Now, I know it's been a while since I've done this what if, and I know pretty sure that this what if has its popularity has went down, but yet I know for the people who still like it, I feel like I deserve to go ahead and post another part for you guys, mostly because you guys still like it, even though to me personally, like, it lost its vibe since I didn't post it consistently. But hey, since you guys still like it, here I am, and I'm about to post it. But either way, enough of me talking about all this stuff. Let's go ahead and get started with this what if, which I know some people have been waiting for. And yeah, let's get started. Let's go.
You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different, man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro, don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do?
Alright guys, let's go ahead and get started with this what if. So we now start off this what if with pretty much where we left off. The Pope had pretty much gone insane and was already deeming the heroes as unworthy for their titles. It was using the power that he so-called gained from God to take them out. Especially since he also believes that Naofumi is the devil of the shield and is planning to use the so-called God's power to eliminate him and the other heroes. As we now go and see the current team, all of them were currently right now gaining up on the Pope, as it was currently a 1v. I actually don't know the numbers. I'm not even gonna go ahead and say here. I'm just gonna say that it's literally 1v all, okay? It was literally all of them versus the Pope, and he was currently actually beating them. Even Naofumi, the strongest member of this group, was the only one who actually even stood a good amount of chances. At this, Naofumi began to think, damn it, as long as we're stuck here in this thing, it's like this is his domain. Naofumi thought, as the man had activated this weird cathedral or whatever spell that turned into this ginormous domain that seemed to be, I don't know, controlling or allow him to become more powerful. Now, if you guys want an example, either you guys can just, like, you know, look at the, I don't know, at the episode, or two, you guys can just think of Trick Room from Pokemon. It's something similar to that. As Naofumi was trying to think of a plan, he would then see Raphtalia get sent flying, to which he ends up catching her right before she lands on the ground. At this, he would put her down, as he then turns to the Pope, who currently right now is mocking all of them, going on his spiel, talking about how God chose him as the only one worthy for such power. At this, Naofumi would then say, well, you shut up already! As this, when Naofumi would then accidentally let out a huge amount of Conqueror's Haki, due to him being extremely pissed off. But this would actually cause something. The cathedral, including the Pope itself, would feel woozy, as the cathedral would actually weaken its power. Like the power of this barrier or whatever got weakened severely, as Naofumi could actually see some of the things got cracked until it repaired itself. What? At this, the Pope gets instantly angry and says, how dare you? How dare you, devil of the shield, strike the power of our mighty God? You shall pay for your sins, the Pope would say, but Naofumi wasn't listening to him. At this, Naofumi began to crack up a plan. Haki. That's the way to win, Haki. At this, Naofumi then realized that the Pope, although having all the powers of the heroes, it seems as if he doesn't have the one ability that Naofumi had, the ability to use Haki. Seeing this, Naofumi then realized that whatever Haki is, it may not exactly be like magic. Well, it is, who knows? Now, like, not even to lie to you, this would actually be the ability to... Now, if you guys want to know pretty much what I'm doing with this will be Naofumi's sort of hint at one of the advanced versions of Haki, which would be advanced armament. At this is when suddenly Naofumi would then close his eyes. He would then try to concentrate on his Haki purely, as he tries to envelop his fist in a whitish aura. Currently right now, this is when he would then scream, guys, I need you guys to distract him only for a little bit, alright? Only give me enough time until I can pull this off. All the other heroes will look at Naofumi as he then jumps away, as this is when the Pope begins to go on a spiel, talking about how the shield hero is a coward. Oh, I'm sorry, devil of the shield is a coward. But this is when Raphtalia, as well as everyone else, gets in the way, while Naofumi concentrates on this. At this, Naofumi begins to concentrate. Pretty much, if you want an example, think of Luffy during his training arc. So, you know, of you guys I've caught up to Wano at least, you know, yeah, I recommend you guys catch up to Wano. It's pretty cool. As of course, this is when Naofumi will be concentrating. He began visualizing it, as if a reddish aura was forming around his fist. Alright, concentrate, hold it in. As it all begins to swell up around his fist, Naofumi would still be on concentrations, as the other heroes would block all the attacks that were aimed at Naofumi. At this is when Naofumi would then feel it. He would finally get into the zone with it as he begins to merge, pretty much being like on the same wavelength at this feeling. Alright. At this, Naofumi now feeling the feeling of concentration of the advanced armament Haki. He will then jump up into the air, as just as Naofumi does, the notification tab will then open up for Haki, as this will be advanced armament Haki, which was activated. As Naofumi would then go ahead and yell out a mighty war cry, he would then punch the weapon of the Pope, who actually had no choice but to block it. But this time he would then smirk. Don't you see, you foolish hero? There's nothing you can do. The almighty At this, he would then suddenly be stopped, as he would then hear a crack. What? Said the Pope, as he would then look down, only to be in shock, as his mighty weapon that was bestowed upon him by God itself was cracked. He got damaged. You filthy devil, what did you do? Until suddenly he would then be punched in the face, getting sent flying down to the ground, as this will actually cause the barrier that was around the heroes to actually begin to get destroyed, as it begins to actually collapse. At this, the Pope would then look around and he then says, No, stop it, do you know what you're doing? At this, Naofumi then smirks. Nope, but whatever I'm doing, it seems to be working, especially if it seems to be pulling scum like you out of this earth. At this, the Pope would then look at him. How dare you call me scum? I'm the one chosen by a mighty God. At this, Naofumi would then look at him. Please, if God were ever to choose anyone, he wouldn't choose you in a million years. At this, Naofumi would then jump off, as he then approaches the man at rapid speed, as the man would then scream out, Damn you, hero! As he then transforms the weapon into a spear, as he shoots off a meteor spear similar to Moriyasu, the spear hero. However, sadly, the attack would literally get destroyed by Naofumi's fist, as the Pope would then go ahead and try to block it. Damn it! At this, Naofumi would then punch it with all his might, including adding the his Devil Fruit ability, or the system's ability, which will end up causing a ginormous earthquake just to form around the area. Now, it was at this time that we'd actually hear horses, as well as a mysterious voice then speaking. Wait, what's going on? The one would say, as this person was a woman, of course, if you guys didn't know, as she, along with multiple other people, were also wondering what the heck is happening, as the whole barrier that was surrounding the heroes and Naofumi was currently collapsing on itself. At this, the Pope's eyes would widen as he realized that his weapon was getting destroyed. No, this can't be. I can't be bested by you. I'm the one chosen by God himself. At this, Naofumi would then shout, Shut up already! Shouted Naofumi as the man would gasp. As the collision was still going on, everyone else were just trying to take cover, as literally people were getting sent flying out here, bro. As Naofumi would then speak. You were wrong. God never chose you. He wouldn't choose you in a million years. You thought you could destroy us, but you were wrong. And now, this will be the end of you. Naofumi would of course say his heroic speech, of course, typical protagonist. As this is when the Pope's eyes would widen, and suddenly, just like that, the mighty weapon that was so-called created by his deity, his god, was destroyed. It can't be. At this, Naofumi would then look at him. Now hurry up and eat this! At this, Naofumi would then land a powerful punch, as the man would get sent flying as he coughs up blood. What? As he would then sent flying, he would end up rolling about, as Naofumi was able to actually beat him up pretty much, just like he does in canon. The only difference is the fact that Naofumi, he never activated the curse shield, he never had to activate the blood sacrifice and everything. So that means Naofumi honestly doesn't really need it. He's strong enough on his own. However, the moment would still be epic. If I was able to draw this, it would be epic. As the man would be sent flying, the only things that were running in his mind was how could I be beaten by the devil? As the man would then slam against the wall, he would be knocked out unconscious, as the whole barrier would then explode, as it would be shattered into bits. Due to this, the entire area would also get destroyed, not to the point where everyone's dead or anything, but it did cause a lot of damage, as Naofumi's attack was that destructive. Seeing this, Naofumi would then look around, As finally, after so long, it actually looked like things looked pretty good. I did it? Naofumi would think. At this, coming out of the rubble, we would see mine, as well as the other heroes, as well as all of Naofumi's party, who were looking at Naofumi, as they all dashed over to him, enveloping him in a big old hug, to which he reciprocated. After this, everyone was currently right now celebrating, while the rest of the people were just looking on in shock at Naofumi, the power that he possessed at this very moment. Which, by the way, if you guys are thinking like, yo, you're overreacting to the advanced armament hockey. No, I'm not. Trust me. No, I'm not. Because let me tell you right now, if you guys have caught up to Wano and everything, you guys would understand just how powerful advanced armament is. So pretty much due to this, Naofumi, after celebrating and everything, they'll then hear a bunch of soldiers as well as others surround them, causing everyone to get on guard, until this is when suddenly another powerful booming voice would then be heard. Halt! At this is when we would then hear footsteps, as this is when Naofumi as well as the other heroes would then turn to see the queen. As she arrived, stunning on them, flipping her hair out in the wind, as she then says, "We have come here to aid you, heroes, and to settle all of this." Due to this, Naofumi as well as the other heroes would then look on, as we're gonna go and actually do a time skip. Now, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. The events are gonna play out slightly different, but at the same time, not that different from canon. So pretty much if you guys wanted me to give you a whole rundown, Naofumi pretty much, instead of being like bedridden and having to stay there for a long time, due to Naofumi's not being extremely injured, he would actually get up not that long. Like he's only needs like at least a day of rest, but after that he's okay. Another thing is the fact that Naofumi also had conversed with the queen, as she ends up explaining that she apologized for her family's action towards him, as well as she also had sent out the shadows to dig deeper into the whole Pope incident, to which they actually found out a lot of information, including mine going ahead and pretty much working with them, and also all the heinous actions of the king. So pretty much she's been keeping track. Now you would expect Naofumi in this situation to get angry, but he didn't, because he was like, okay, it's not like I really needed your help, because Naofumi, he was able to make the best out of a bad situation. After that, however, we will now go and actually do a time skip all the way to the point where it's finally time for the trial. By the way, if you guys are not liking how the way I'm just skipping over this entire thing, it's not really that extremely important, because Naofumi already defeated the main baddie, okay? But let me continue on. So it was finally time for the trial, and things go relatively the same as it does in canon. Now, due to all the damage and everything, the kingdom is still getting a little bit repaired, mostly due to the fact that the battle literally happened outside of the kingdom. It literally happened right outside it, so of course it's gonna take a little bit of damage. So due to this, the kingdom is still getting repaired, but people were still enough to tune in into this trial, as the queen actually wanted to get this trial over immediately, as this crime that they did against the shield hero, oh my god, they needed to get this over with quickly. Now the trial would go pretty much directly as it does in canon, with the queen pretty much showing all the horrible things that the king and the princess did to Naofumi. Pretty much doing to the point to where they end up saying that not only did mine cooperate with the church of the three heroes in helping the Pope, but she also went ahead, tried to kill Melty, framed the shield hero, and was pretty much going along with this whole plan that the king had proposed. Speaking of said king, his crimes were also introduced, as he had also held an unfaulty grudge against the shield hero even before he came into this world, pretty much showing that not only did he try to frame the shield hero by using his daughter, but also about all the times that he tried to make sure the shield hero lose everything that he worked so hard to keep. Due to these crimes, as well as all this dark stuff, the image of the kingdom about their royal family got completely dark, as people actually began to write about it. Due to this, instantly people began ordering for their deaths, to which end up calling to the point to where it was finally time for the execution, to which the queen ordered to happen immediately. Naofumi honestly had no care in the world about this, as he honestly did not care, As we go and actually move on to the change of scene, as they're all about to get guillotined right now, bro. At this, Naofumi was also along with the rest of the crowd. Of course, Mine tried to make that fatal attempt of shouting for Moriyasu and of course shouting for Naofumi. However, unlike before, events are going to happen a little bit differently here. Now, don't get me wrong, trust me, I may sometimes make my what ifs a little, not even a little bit, my what ifs sometimes get a little bit dark, but I'm not going to be completely heartless here, okay? Now at this, the queen was actually about to do just as she stated, about going ahead and offering her life in exchange for her family. But instead, something completely different happens. Naofumi then speaks. Alright, hold on. Hold the execution, he would say. At this, everyone would then stop as they turn to Naofumi, who's currently walking down, as he begins to explain that death will be an easy exit for all the treachery that they did. All the horrible things that they did to him, to others, people's homes that they literally destroyed but did not care about, all of their crimes, all their sins. That death was an easy exit out of all of it. But Naofumi had an idea. However, instead of just changing their names and everything, like calling her, bitch and the king trash, but instead things are gonna go different. Naofumi then gets on an evil and dark grin, as just once when the king and Mine actually thought the shield hero that they're framed and everything was actually about to save them, Naofumi then fully on screws them over, as he then says that he wants them stripped of their royal status and serve a long time in prison. And when and if they are released, then not only are they stripped from their fortunes as well as all their money, pretty much making them broke, then they have to go ahead and continue living on as regular civilians in their own kingdom. And let me just say this, nearly all of the whole kingdom disliked the king and his princess instantly. So due to all this, don't expect a good life here in the kingdom that you so-called helped and raised. Hearing this, both Mine and the king thought, oh yeah, that's easy. But when everyone heard this, you could see it. You can see dark rings forming on all the faces of all the villagers here. Seeing the faces that the villagers are making, the king would then gasp, wait, you can't be serious. At this, Naofumi would then smirk. Of course I am. After all, you get to live in the very same kingdom that you so-called made sure it flourished and it was beautiful, right? At this, the king then realized, he's about it. His life is got screwed over big time. Due to this, the queen can only do nothing more but sadly nod. I mean, it was either this or death, and trust me, trust me, it would have been better to go like this. Due to this, the queen would then speak. Alright, your request will be fulfilled. At this, both the king and his, ex-king and his ex-princess would both get out of their execution platforms, but they will instantly be taken to prison. At this, Moriyasu, being the simp that he is, goes ahead and screams out to Mine, to which she'll go and scream out to him, trying to do some sort of Romeo and Juliet play, to which Naofumi just rolls his eyes. Alright, well, since all this entertainment is gone, I'm out of here. As he actually begins to walk away. This is when the queen would then speak. Shield hero, aren't you not gonna go to your... At this, Naofumi already knows what she was gonna ask and says, nah, sorry, I'm more of a man of adventure. Sorry. At this, he ends up walking away, as secretly he still had his village to take care of, after all. Don't get me wrong, Naofumi is happy to see that both of the people who caused him so much trouble from getting into this world were finally gonna get what they deserved. But Naofumi still had responsibilities. As Naofumi was currently making his way out of there, this is when suddenly he would then be approached by Rin and Itsuki, as both of them were looking at Naofumi with regret on their faces. Naofumi then speaks. Trust me, I'm not gonna forgive you guys. You're a long way from even feeling a small bit of hope for me to forgive you. At this is when Itsuki was about to speak up, telling Naofumi that he was being extremely selfish, but Naofumi eyed him with the glare as well as flaring up his conqueror's haki. I swear, if you speak, I'll hit you so damn hard in the throat you will never be able to speak again. Hearing this, Itsuki did the rightful choice and shut up, as Naofumi will begin to walk away. Now, when this is happening, however, this is when suddenly Melty would then speak. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Shield Hero, but you cannot leave. At this, Naofumi would then sigh. Melty, what are you talking about? At this, Melty would then smile. Well, of course the queen had actually asked for requested for you to come. At this, Naofumi would then sigh as he knows that what Melty is speaking pretty much, let me translate for you, is saying pretty much that she will annoy Naofumi to the point where he will have no choice but to come along and see the queen. At this, Naofumi does nothing more but nod as she then changes directions, as we're now going to go and actually do a time skip and a change of scene. So we will now see the party that was going on as everyone was now celebrating, after the trial and everything, as the cursed king and of course everyone else was gone. Due to this, however, Naofumi and as well as the rest of the heroes were currently in a private meeting with the queen. To pretty much, that meeting goes almost exactly like it does in canon. All the heroes pretty much stating like, man, we don't need to talk to each other. I mean, we're already pretty strong. But the queen ends up stating that if all the heroes continue on at this pace, then the only one to survive the next wave will be Naofumi. Of course, hearing the words coming from the queen, all the heroes get pissed off as they actually all turn to Naofumi, who currently is ignoring all of them, just lazily looking at his nails or just looking around. As this is when Moriyasu wouldn't speak up, as he was the one who so far has the most negative feelings for Naofumi. I got something to say first. We want to talk about exchanging information. How about you start talking about your skills, huh? At this, Naofumi as well as all the other heroes, including the queen, would then turn their attention to, Moriyasu, as he begins to go on a rant, pretty much explaining that Naofumi had all his hacks abilities and everything, and that he was extremely unfair, holding out on all of them. At this is when Itsuki would also run into this, as he would begin to actually support Moriyasu on this. Rin, however, slowly but surely kept his mouth shut, as he realized that, one, going by this is how Naofumi hated them all in the first place, and two, after seeing Naofumi's powers, do you honestly want to fuck with the man who honestly was able to beat the guy who was able to solo all of them? That's like saying, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and beat the crap out of a guy who pretty much soloed an entire boss room that all of us together could not do. So due to this, Ren of course shut his mouth up, to which the other guys would continue ranting until Naofumi would then slam them with a bunch of killing intent. You were saying? At this, Moriyasu and Itsuki would instantly shut up as Naofumi would then speak. Fine, I'll exchange some information with you. Number one, my abilities, as well as everything else, they all accompany the shield. So if you want to start asking about how I got my power, it comes from the shield. And before you start saying, oh, it's hacked and that I must have been lying, how about we go ahead and look at your stuff, bitch? What about all the abilities you guys gained from getting your weapons? Alright? So stop complaining already. Hearing these words, of course, Moriyasu would get pissed off at Naofumi for how dare he speaks to someone like him. But this when Moriyasu wouldn't speak up. Well, this it doesn't matter anyway. It's not like any of us can even compete with you with that hack shield. Naofumi would then shrug his shoulders, I guess. As Naofumi honestly did not care about these guys. Personally, if he wanted to, these guys, if they were to die in the wave, Naofumi honestly would not bat an eye to them. As Naofumi, although he may not be heartless, he honestly did not care about these guys. Rin was the one he was at least chill with, but other than that, him and Rin were not friends. Nowhere near it. Due to this, of course, the queen would then go ahead and just sigh, seeing the blatant actions. And she will begin to explain, how about you guys try conversing with yourselves, and she's pretty much trying to instigate all of them into talking with themselves, but sadly, none of that is working. So, yeah, things go pretty much exactly like they do in canon, however. Well, not exactly, but nearly the same as it does in canon. The party getting interrupted. The only difference we're going to make here is that Naofumi, he already knew about the menu to where they get to change their weapons and everything, because Naofumi was able to figure it out on his own. So pretty much things go exactly like they do, except Naofumi already knows that information. After that, things will continue on like they do in canon, when Naofumi actually ended up hearing about this island that you can gain a lot of XP for, and it seems like it was like an event in a video game. So of course, hearing this, Naofumi would of course order his party that they're gonna go, to which the Filial Queen will actually ask to stay behind, and she ends up saying that after all, Naofumi still needed someone to guard the village, and although all the other villagers are still training and getting stronger, and are pretty strong themselves, it still didn't help with the fact that there were only a limited amount of them that can fight. Due to this, Naofumi nods at the Filial Queen's request, Also, due to the fact that the Filial Queen pretty much it has to be sure that she had been here before. Mostly due to the fact that out of everyone in his party, the Filial Queen is the one who can even actually keep up with Naofumi. So with that, Naofumi and the rest of his party would go on to the island, which I honestly don't know what it's called. Like XP Island or something? I honestly don't know. So pretty much we're gonna go ahead and continue on. So moving on, as we do so, we would eventually get introduced to two people. This is where, just like in canon, we'll meet Lark and Therese, who seem like good people. Now, as we move on our way, we will begin to slowly but realize that these people aren't exactly normal. Their strength are incredible. Although not at Naofumi's level, Naofumi can acknowledge their strength as they were able to actually keep up with Naofumi and the rest of his group when it comes to slaying these monsters. Of course, Naofumi is not going all out and just defeating them all due to the fact that Naofumi has already a pretty high level, but still, the fact that these guys were able to keep up, it's impressive. As this slowly but surely, the night continues to fall as it usually does, as I'm not gonna really stay much in here, as I don't want to go because I'm trying to come up with new ways on how to tell my stories, because sometimes I get sidetracked too much like I'm doing right now, but I'm just gonna move on. So moving on through the canon, actually, we would eventually see that, of course, Naofumi and his group finds the hourglass, mentioning that a way was gonna happen here. Of course, seeing this, Naofumi instantly gets up and tells everyone, to which the queen would form out an army, and pretty much everyone getting prepared for this, including the other heroes. To which, by the way, let me just say this, it's a shocker how she's just able to be like, alright, I need an army, and they instantly appear out of nowhere. Like, I'll be wondering if these guys are NPCs. Wait a minute. So we move on as we usually do, and pretty much things will go exactly like they do to canon. The wave ends up happening. They all begin to fight the monster that is there, to which they actually were able to put up a good fight and defeat it. And most of the fighting was mostly due by Naofumi, of course. But this is when suddenly Lark and Therese will both appear, as they were actually surprised that Naofumi was actually the shield hero, to which, if you guys don't know, he mentioned it to them. I didn't really think I needed to include that, but yeah. As this will actually make both of them actually look down a little bit upset at this, due to the fact that Naofumi had done so much for them. He still does as much as he does for canon, but yeah. Due to this, they both begin to say that they have no choice but to destroy Naofumi, as well as the other heroes. As this is when the other heroes would of course join in, only to get their ass clapped by both of them, as they really stood no chance. Due to this, the fight was only up to Naofumi and his party, which Naofumi would of course order, just like in canon, to order his party to take on Therese, to which he would take on Lark. Lark. Again, I still don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. So confusing. At this, Naofumi would bring out his fist, because he's about to catch these hands. While Lark ends up bringing out his scythe, to which he ends up stating that he is the scythe hero. Hearing these words, Naofumi is actually not that surprised, as he actually has been sort of figuring things out after the whole encounter with Glass. Which, speaking of Glass, Naofumi would sense an energy that was approaching extremely fast, as this energy was kind of familiar to Naofumi. As he's just thinking, well, speak of her. As just as when, of course, Lark would appear, he would then swing his scythe, to which Naofumi would block with his shield, which instantly, the damage and the collision between the two would cause shockwaves to be sent out. This is when Naofumi and Lark would get into combat, to which Naofumi, with his prowess in combat, being actually way better than Lark, could easily begin to overpower him. Lark had tried actually doing some good moves on Naofumi, for example, trying to use his scythe as an actual freaking boomerang, to which it actually worked a little bit, as Naofumi did get a small graze on his cheek. Naofumi had to admit, this man was putting up more of a challenge than most of the people that he fought here. However, it was easily to see that the man was getting overpowered. As for his teammate, she was not doing much better, as Rautalia and Jane, as they were both able to actually gang up and jump Therese, to which she actually stood no chance. I mean, if it was a one-on-one, things would be different, but yeah, she got jumped, and it was obvious to see that she was getting beaten up. At this point, just as it would seem like these two were about to be finished for, this is when, just like that, Glass would appear, just like she does in canon. Now, seeing that Glass had appeared, of course, Naofumi was like, alright, I'm gonna take her on. as he instantly wanted a rematch with her due to the fact that she ran off the last time, but Naofumi was not about to let her get away that sweet, okay? Seeing that she was here, she would instantly activate one of her techniques, that being on Zero Stance Rondo, Reverse 4 Seasons, which if you guys don't know is the subbed version of one of her techniques, to which she would send out a very powerful gust of wind, to which Naofumi would summon an airstrike shield to block it. Oh, you got a little bit stronger, Naofumi would say, as he actually felt himself get pushed back a couple of feet. At this, she ends up smirking. Well, of course I have. After all, facing against you, Shield Hero, I deserve to be more prepared. At this, Naofumi then chuckles and says, yeah, very interesting, but it won't save you. Naofumi would jump up at her. He would then slam his fist full of quake, which ends up causing her to have no choice but to block it with her fan, as well as increase in magic energy. Now at this, Naofumi was surprised as Glass was actually able to block the attack, which if you guys don't know, blocking Naofumi's attack was on the level that, you know, the Pope had to use in order to block his attack. Well, before Naofumi had the advanced armament hockey. So due to this, of course Naofumi would be surprised, as this is when, of course, Glass would then shout out her attack, blasting out Naofumi up in the air. Okay, that's new, he would say, as he then jumps down. At this, Glass would then smirk. After our encounter, I realized that in order to keep up with you, I had to train myself more vigorous if I have any chance of defeating you. At this, Naofumi then smirks. Well, I have to admit, you did get better. At this, hearing his compliment, she would blush a little bit as she then says, damn you. As Naofumi would then smirk. Sadly, you're not the only one who got stronger. Hearing these words, Glass would then gasp as she feels an intense pressure fall over Naofumi, as his fists would then begin to get filled with armament until they actually begin to glow a small reddish. Advanced armament hockey. Naofumi during the entire time on this island was mostly practicing with this, as the only reason he did it without getting detected from the others was he's doing it pretty much on like a low frequency, like, you know, not using a lot of power. But this time, since he's using a more power, it will be more difficult to control it. But still, it's controlled nonetheless. Naofumi was now staring at Glassy and says, try to keep up, it's cute stuff. Hearing these words coming from him, the woman can do nothing more but blast a ginormous wave of wind towards Naofumi, to which he would easily dodge out of the way, as Naofumi would then smirk. Yeah, she really is a tsundere type. At this, he would then jump down as he would go ahead and slam the fist of hockey into the barrier of magic that she created. However, this time the effects were instantly different, as the barrier was destroyed like nothing, as Glass had no choice but to bring her arm up and her fan to block the attack, to which luckily she's able to block it, but she still gets sent flying, as she ends up crashing into the water, until suddenly she'll then rise up again in a tornado of water. She glares at Naofumi. I will not lose, but I will survive this, as she begins to send ginormous gusts of wind at Naofumi, sort of similar to the wind palm, or if you want an example, think of Tamari from Naruto. Naofumi, seeing the attacks coming, can do nothing more but smirk as he begins to dodge and weave out of all of it, while the others such as Lart and Therese were seeing this. They were only looking at Glass with pity, as even them, they begin to accept the fate that they're coming to due to the fact that Naofumi's strength is just on a different level, man. As Glass continues firing the attacks, she will look at Naofumi, as Naofumi was at first treating this like all a game, until he sees her actually begin to tear up. I can't lose. I can't. At this, Naofumi actually stops and asks, why? At this, she will then begin to shout the true reasons like she does in canon, pretty much stating that if one of them still lives, the other cannot. As due to this, Naofumi actually, his eyes would widen. However, due to all this talking as well as this dramatic effect, the timer would run out, causing Glass as well as Lart and Therese to all go back to their world. Now, while this is happening, Lark ends up informing Naofumi that they will meet again, and that this time they will be stronger, and then eventually they'll take him down. Although they end up saying that if things were different, he does believe that him and Naofumi could have been good friends, to which Naofumi can do nothing more but nod at that. At this, Naofumi would then look at the rest of them, as currently right now everyone else was just shell-shocked at this new information as well as these new individuals. As we now move on, Naofumi can only think of one thing. How could this be? He wonders. As he wonders if is it true? Of one side exists, the other cannot. As this makes Naofumi wonders, could there be other heroes out in the world besides them? Could like the multiverse exist? What's to happen next? Well, who knows, as we're gonna have to find out in the next part. Yeah, I know, I made a very, very short video, and I know some of y'all might be a little bit pissed off, but you guys gotta know one thing. I honestly have no idea where I want to continue on with the story. Like, what do y'all think? Do you guys think I should end it like in the next part? Or should I like, move on to maybe, I don't know, season 2, to which I still have not seen it yet. I still have not seen season 2. But either way, it's up to you guys really. I'm thinking about ending the series, mostly due to the fact that it's gone on long enough, and I feel like it really deserves a good conclusion. I can think of one up, but it might be a little bit too fairy tale-ish. I can think of another one. Yeah, I can think of a lot of endings, but for right now, I'm just gonna leave it at this. So it's up to you guys to decide, but either way, it is Sage Samurai. Thank you for coming along with me on this journey, and either way, I'm out. Peace.